Boiler. Okay, let's call this meeting to order. Amy, would you like to call roll, please? Here.
Steve Brown. Allison Birch. Bill Eldridge.
Here.
Elgin Hamner. Luke Moody.
I'm here.
Greg Shin.
Okay, we have a quorum. I'll let you borrow mine. Okay, so let's move on. Let's have the minutes from the June meeting.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as read. Man, yours worked good.
Okay, I have a motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's move on to the financial reports with Jordan and Mandy.
As of June 30th, you see the 4 bank accounts I reconciled. They total $1,832,182.99. A little froggy today, sorry. And then you owe to the City of Benton and the DFA $619.08. Turn to the next page, you'll find the A&P's P&L for the month of June. I want to point out to you labor expenses. That's the first time we have paid 60% of Rachel's salary, so that's why that is there without any budgeted amount for the month. So just wanted to point that out. Otherwise, everything looks relatively normal for the month. Turn to the next page, you'll find the A&P's P&L for the 6 months ending June 30th. So total revenue in of $110,077.77. Total expenses of $71,405.52 for a net income of $38,672.25. So ahead by $12,428. Turn to the next page, you'll find the P&L for the Event Center for the month of June. Not anything out of the ordinary for the month, other than it was just a great month. $71,819.01 received. Operating expenses of $40,616.22 paid out. And then of that $31,000 of ordinary income, $10,241 was spent on painting in the facility for a net income of $20,961.79. So $21,000 ahead of budget. You see below that the transfer out to the savings account, but then also a transfer from the savings account to cover the capital expenditure of the painting of the facility. Turn to the next page, you'll see the Event Center P&L for the 6 months ending June 30th, 2025. Total revenue of $388,682.53. That's $19,000 ahead of schedule. Total expenses of $239,084. Really $35,000 better than anticipated. For a net ordinary income of $149,598. Roughly $54,000, almost $55,000 ahead of budget. Then you see the various capital expenditures totaling $60,267.57 for a net income for the 6 months ending June of $89,330.60. So $51,000 ahead of schedule. And then below that you see the 5 transfers that are made starting in February of $10,000 a month going out to the savings account, but then being received from the savings account $60,267.57, which covers the capital expenditures above. And then last, you'll see the focus group's P&L for the month of June. $21,490 was collected. It's roughly $3,000 ahead of budget. And then for the 6 months ending June, that next page and final page of my report, the focus group has collected nearly $120,000 and paid out the 1 installment to the soccer complex of $50,000 for a net income of roughly $70,000 for the 6 months ending June 2025.
Any questions for Jordan? Okay, we'll move on to Mandy, please.
Balances that are on the next page, you'll see that the A&P Collections general account, that's where all of the collections for each month are collected into. At the end of June, there was $12,899.87. At the end of that month, of every month, 50% is transferred into the A&P large project checking. At the end of June, there was $2,123,504.09. This is the account that we do purchase the annual payment for land at the Thomas property. 20% of monthly collections go into the A&P small project checking. At the end of June, there was $1,483,268.79. And then 10% go into the next three accounts. A&P general operating checking, at the end of the month, there was $166,245.89. Benton focus group checking, that closed June with $727,404.21. And the Benton Event Center operating checking, that ended June with $536,991.13. There's also a Benton Event Center operating savings account. It ended June with $401,982.22. On the next sheet, you will see the collections as separated out by the different categories. These were May collections received in June. They are not delinquent until July 10th. That's technically tomorrow, so I don't have a delinquency report. However, if you will see, good news. For the month, we collected $195,333.79. That is 5.5% increase over the previous year. So, strong month. We can hope that it keeps going in that same direction.
So any questions for Mandy? Need a motion to approve the financial?
Make a motion, we approve the finances.
Motion and second, all in favor? Motion carries. Okay, let's move on to funding request, which is none. So we'll move on to report from the Benton Event Center, and that will be Nikki.
You will find your report. We ended June 11th meeting with 1,010,060 people. Over the last approximately 30 days, we've had 10 events with a little over 7,100 people. Of course, we had Chamber Bingo with 977. Saline County Comic Expo had 885 people. If you will go down, we had the Arkansas Prevention Summit Conference with 912, and then the Arkansas Safari Club banquet had 160, and they had already booked for 2026 with us, so they're going to come back next year. And right now we are wrapping up the AAEA CASBO and superintendent meeting. That is the school business officers and new superintendents meeting. So a little over 7,100 people, bringing us to 1,017,209. Okay, so another issue that I need to bring before you guys is I just this afternoon received notification from our current cleaning company that after the end of July, they will no longer be able to service us. The very sweet lady that has been cleaning is moving out of town, and they don't have any personnel to fill that spot. So I need your approval to get Mandy all the information to get requests for proposals so that we can hopefully keep the continuity of cleaning in the building going after they can no longer do it. So if I can get y'all's approval on that, that would be great.
So therefore, we need to make a motion to put out for bid cleaning services for the event center.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we put out.
We have a second. All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to talk about the next item? The lighting? Because we've already put it out, we got to approve the bid. Oh, it was, I'm sorry. It's farther down the list, but, okay, we'll come back. I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. Okay, we're gonna report now on the development of the exit 114 property. We have Dan here from McClellan Engineers to kind of give us an update on our recent bids for the dirt work, and I'll turn it over to you, Dan. Is that working?
Sounds like it. Good afternoon. I'm Dan Baranek with McClellan Engineers. Just wanted to come and bring a report of how things are progressing. As Bill said, we took bids about a week ago now, and those numbers were high. So we met with those contractors and decided to reject those bids and clean some things up, reduce scope a little bit, give a few other options for where to get dirt, and then rebid the project. So that's kind of where we stand. We had 2 bidders that submitted bid. We had a few other bidders that were on our plans holder list, so we're going to reach out to those 2 and see if some additional competition will help to drive prices down. We do have one tidbit of additional news. As y'all know, this project involves a Corps permit. We passed one of the milestones of that this week. We finished the public notice comment period that the Corps puts out for the project, and actually only had 1 comment, and that was a positive comment in support of the project. So now we'll go to the state for a clean water kind of permit through ADEQ, and then the Corps will kind of go through their NEPA process to finish up their permit for the project. So, questions?
Sorry. You said we're gonna look at options of getting dirt in other places. Does that mean we're not gonna utilize the dirt across the street?
No, we can. That's an option, but the city also has some property up by the fire station and the middle school that we might be able to utilize. And then there's some other things that we talked to the contractors about trying to do too, to minimize some clearing and grubbing that we would have to do, so we can save some money there too.
Cut the cost down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and I'll stick around if anybody has questions. I'm happy to talk at the end as well.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to the AMP Marketing Committee with Steve and Rachel.
Because I've been on vacation and I have no idea what's going on. Everyone has met Rachel, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. So no introduction needed. I will say I've been very impressed with what Rachel has brought to bear in the short time she's been with us, so we're really thankful to have her. I'll turn it over to you.
The marketing committee meeting about a week and a half ago, and the sales agency presented us with 3 different website designs, and they are beautiful. And so we had the opportunity to, everyone kind of gave their feedback, looked at the 3 different options. We had some really good feedback, and so we have gone with one specific layout that everyone has agreed upon, and so they are charging forward with plugging in all of the content that we've been getting and all of the specific content that I'm providing them. And I did ask them this week, they are going to plan to be here next month on August 13th to do kind of a live demonstration of the website to you guys. So, because we're hoping for a launch on September 1st, and I would like to launch our social media pages a month before that to gain a following before the website is launched. So I'm also working on kind of press releases, getting some earned media, preparing for that website launch. So, yeah, so looking forward to next month and y'all getting to see what all they've been working on. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, now we're going to go to the Event Center lighting with Nikki Chum.
Okay, so in your packets, you will see we put out the request for proposals, and those were opened on Friday, June 27th. We only received one bid back, and that was from Middlebrooks. You will see in your packet that there are actually 2 estimates. The first one with a total of $66,992.47. That is for the actual Lutron lighting control system. that would replace our current Cooper lighting system. The second one is if we decided to install touch panels in each one of the rooms. And I have been kind of going back and forth, honestly, on that, on whether we will need that or just work everything through the iPad. But we also need to think in case of, iPad going down or, it doesn't get charged up for some reason, of having a backup way. So I will kind of toss that around with Middlebrooks. So for this right now, with including the touch panels, it would be $92,750 would be the cost. Like I said, when I asked you guys for this is something that, we're looking at a 12-year-old system, and if, the lead time on getting this put in, I've got a window of about 14 out of 16 days that are open of them being able to come in and put in that new system. So it's not a quick turnaround if something were to go down. It's not something that we could replace quickly. So it's probably something that right now, since we already have one panel that's out, of kind of doing that and being proactive with it. So, do you have any questions?
Yes.
Yes, Luke?
As far as the secondary bid about the touchscreens,
Yes.
with you talking about it being controlled from your iPad, is there a way to have a secondary device or your actual main computer also be a backup? So whatever software is installed there, you have that way if something does, because technology fails, opposed to spending almost $26,000. I mean, a secondary iPad or something of that nature seems a lot more affordable
Yes.
to control it if in case of an emergency.
That is something that I have talked to Jonathan at Middlebrooks about. What are the alternatives to, instead of maybe having four touch screens, do we have maybe one kind of almost main panel that
Right.
would run, that we would have in another location? Having a touch screen in the ballrooms, just kind of talking through it with him, is not as important because people don't generally change the lighting out in those rooms as much as they do in the smaller rooms, where they might have a meeting that they're doing a PowerPoint and they need to dim the lights and then they want to turn it kind of back on. What I've found is that's more likely for people to want to adjust the lights themselves, where in the bigger room, they will go ahead and, let Steve or I know, hey, we need to turn the lights up. But I've not asked him about a computer or something other than either the touch screens or operating it off of an iPad.
And that's what I was thinking is if
Yes.
if the same system can be used across multiple devices,
Yes.
that you can almost achieve the same thing by buying multiple iPads. And as they use them, you could, hey, if you
Yes.
need to dim your lights, use this, you turn it back in. Something, you know what I mean? That you
yes.
could have that same availability.
Yeah. and we've
For a
also
lot
talked
cheaper.
About even if we did have one touch screen, in one of the smaller rooms, being able to make those changes for the scenes in the ballroom. So,
Right.
where it's not just running that one room, it can run the whole.
Right.
The whole
Yeah. If we have a touch, I could see that where
Yeah.
you have that. And then, yeah, I would definitely find out if
And-
we can do multiple devices on that. It just seems like
And adding these touch screens does not affect the timing. They can put in the system,
and
get
then
it
come back and
running,
just,
and we could come back and put these touch screens if we needed to.
I like that idea. Yeah. Are we looking for a motion to accept this bid? Is that what we're looking for? Still in discussion? Who else?
Let me pull up this whole. Warranty will be provided on labor and materials up to 1 year from the date of installation. I'm sorry?
Expect to see of the system.
They did not,
I mean, ours has made it
yeah, it's made it 12 years.
12 years. And I'm assuming it's a similar system, just of course much more
Yes.
than what we're using. Everything's LED.
Yes. We are in the process of converting over to LED lights. Yes, yes. We probably have maybe 20 lights right now that aren't LED. That's correct. Yes, this is something that we've been just kind of, as lights go out, we've been changing that over to LED. Right. And this system will give me the ability to do a lot more scenes. You know, we've kind of, when they originally put in the original system, there was some holes that we needed to have filled. And we just kind of did workarounds as far as like, if you had an event in room 1 and 2, you couldn't operate that as one space. You had to operate it as 2 different rooms. And this will give me the option of actually setting scenes myself and loading those into the system.
Nikki, when is that timeline that you're talking about that you have the window? How soon is that coming up?
In August, mid-August.
Quick.
Yes.
Like we would need to turn this.
Yes,
today.
they can get product, and they said within that 16-day, they might not be able to be completely done with it, but it would not be something that would keep us from you know, hindering an event. You're right.
Bill, where would this come out of savings? Typically, it would just come out of our reserve account for savings, which is what we put that for. Exactly what it's for. So if Nikki's good with this, I mean, we would kind of discuss this already. Let's move forward with the lighting side of it. And then let's ask some questions about the actual adding of the 4 pads.
Absolutely.
So I'll make a motion, we accept the lighting bid and we hit pause on the secondary bid for those, and we'll revisit that next month and see what the answers to those questions are.
All right, I'm good with that.
We have a motion and second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. Any new business? Of course, next meeting is August 13th. Put that on your calendar. Okay, fall's coming. Other business, I got a couple things I need to mention. First of all, we had mentioned a while back we had a small altered check on the Benton Event Center operating account. And we have to report we have recovered that $175 from the bank that paid it when they shouldn't have. And so that money's been redeposited as of yesterday. But with that, the current bank that holds the operating account, since we've had fraud on a commercial account, is basically telling us we have to go on what's called positive pay. And Steve, are you familiar with positive pay? So, and anybody else? Okay, basically what this is, and I don't know the logistics of the system yet, but every morning we would have to approve any, we'd have to look at the check, approve it coming through, and then they would pay those checks at night, the checks that we had written. In this case, the check that was fraud was altered. We didn't, it came through, we never noticed it, and not that we would have noticed it on positive pay either. But this particular institution does require that once they have fraud on a commercial account. Other option is we close that account and open up a new account. I would think probably indefinitely, knowing this institute. After a year, we probably could petition to have that removed. But yeah.
It was $175 check that we received and deposited. No,
it's
we
one
wrote.
We wrote
And it was altered
in cash by another bank. in
by
Little
another,
Rock.
okay.
It wasn't the amount was not altered. The
Payee.
perpetrator
Yeah.
added his name to the payee line, which was made out to an organization and him, which should have never been cashed to begin with.
Right.
But this other bank in Little Rock cashed it, and it cleared against our account, and we caught it. We filled out the affidavit, and sent it back, filed a police report. The guy that did it was in jail at the time, so, for writing, for altering checks. But well, at this point, the current bank accounts we have for the 4 AMP accounts they're paying us a very good rate of interest that we might not be able to match. Well, if they close this account and open up a new one, it would be at the same place and we would get the same rate. But there's a lot of logistics that would be involved in closing the operating center checking account and getting a new one reopened, So I would probably, as a banker, and Steve can concur, get his opinion too. They've kind of got us where they have us, and so we don't have a whole lot of choice in this at this moment. At least for 12 months, we could put it in place. In order to do it, though, we're going to one of the things that would be required is we'd have to authorize by the commission, since Amy writes our checks, she'd be the primary person to look at these every morning and approve they're being paid. And then you'd have to have a backup like Nikki and myself that could verify. All it is verifying that these checks are ones we've written and that we do not notice anything peculiar on them. It could. Amy, since this happened, they've implemented this, not officially, but they've been calling Amy every morning for approval to pay these checks. Yeah. But Amy, so now, of course, when Amy goes on vacation, we can send a computer with her. I'm playing. Yeah, we're going to give her a free meal at Burger Shack every month. And when at Elgin's play. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, no, they've given us two options, that we either close this account and open up a new one at the same bank with the same rate of interest that we're earning on the money. We would have to buy new checks, and they say this account's now compromised. Just the operating. In theory, they feel it's compromised. In actuality, being a 42-year bank employee, the account it's a one-off thing. It's not compromised. The guy got the check, altered it, and cashed it, and that was his, So I feel comfortable to say it's not compromised. But they think worst case scenario, they think this business account's been compromised, so they've given us these two options on this account. We'd have the new signature cards. We'd have to work. We'll have a lot of work to do with Nikki and Amy to get all the. We have all of our credit card receipts going into that account. We have some recurring expenses, utilities, stuff like that come out of that account. So we'd have to get all that changed. So it can be done, but we would have to. It would be there would be maybe 2 free Burger Shack lunches. It's actually I think it's an online I haven't seen the details of the logistics, but it's an online process that you pull up the image of the check, say yes or no. And Amy, roughly on the event center, how many checks how many? About 50 checks. It was, back in May, I believe, that when we discovered the check. You what? It may have just. We could put that in the minutes and I could have the conversation with, the banker and just say we've agreed to do this for 6 months and at that time we would like to reevaluate and remove this process. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yes, one time. That was my thought, Steve. I thought it's a little overkill on this, but we can definitely put this in place. And, you know, based on the number of accounts we have at this institution, I think they would be receptive to us putting that stipulation on there. Okay.
Point with the amount of dollars that we hold, that we are in a different position than we've ever been, as an organization or as a, committee, holding funds that makes us much more attractive to a lot more institutions. So if they don't want to play nice, then let's go shopping.
Okay. I agree. So, yes, yes, Mandy. Okay, well, that's good information. Okay, so that changes the dynamic on the 6 months. So you're saying that this is probably from a legislative law standpoint, they would prefer us to go ahead and do this with no restriction on time. Okay. No comment, Chair. So therefore, thank you, Mandy. That's very good information. So that changes the dynamic of the motion. Then my recommendation would be that we go ahead and establish positive pay on this account. Amy would be the primary since she writes the checks daily, knows it has the check register. And then we can put Nikki and myself, if y'all want, as secondaries that we can verify checks and look at. So that's something else. Okay, you got that motion, Amy? You got a second? Okay. Okay, all in favor of this? Any opposed? That carries. Okay. Thank y'all. That was a good discussion. Thank you again, Mandy, for your insight on that. Okay, there was an email that went out this morning from Amy to all the commissioners. And I'm not that familiar with what this is about, but we have requested to attend a scheduled meeting Tuesday evening, next Tuesday the 15th at 5 o'clock here in the chamber, in the council chambers. Mandy, do you know anything about that, or Tom, Gary? So good, like a training session, basically. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so everybody good with that for next Tuesday at 5 o'clock? Okay, we'll be here next Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Okay, I'll look forward to seeing everyone there. Okay, any other business? Do you have anything for us? Yeah. Not on the agenda, so I didn't know if you had anything or not. Oh, okay.
So we had our event this past June. We had a total of 881 people. That does include attendees, dealers, staff, and guests that came to the event. One that was very notable was there was a young lady that came all the way to Arkansas after she saw our post about one of the guests coming. Come to find out she actually had friends that lived in Arkansas, but she flew all the way from Poland here
Wow.
to come to the event. So I don't know how many miles that is, but it's more than I'll ever go in my lifetime. But I do want to make that out. It was Lenore Zan. She played Rogue in X-Men, the animated series, and X-Men 97, currently on Disney Plus. So she came all the way here. I have a picture of her if y'all want to see it after the adjourn. But she came all the way, and then of course the guests all stayed an extra day just to go to the Presidential Library in Little Rock. So they made a trip of that before they all flew out Monday afternoon.
Awesome.
So that's actually the first time any guests have actually stayed past Sunday.
Yeah.
They all wanted to go, and one of the guests paid for everybody to go to it and everything. So they had a good time.
That's awesome. We should have given
My tickets,
attendance.
probably roughly around the same. So, but we moved it off of Father's Day weekend. I felt like it's reached where it was going to go because, like I've told a lot of people, I felt that fathers wanted to go to a convention. The wife can't say no really to that, you would think. But so we moved it off of that, and we're extending it to a 3-day show. So it'll be Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday now. So, and then also a lot of people I did hear say that they saw those yellow signs throughout the city that y'all approved me for with Carrie Murphy. So those were noticed, and people were like, hey, that's a real good idea. So,
Yeah. They were around quite a bit.
they were. I had a friend of mine who works over in North Little Rock, saw one over there on the whatever interstate bridge that is going towards Jacksonville and Cabot. Saw it over there. So they were noticed.
Good deal. That's always good to hear, get good feedback like that.
So just want to let y'all know.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Any other business? Any comments from the commission? Okay, all in favor? Aye. We're here.